What is up, YouTube? If you were confused watching the Street Fighter 6 gameplay trailer, you didn't know what was going on, there were too many mechanics being thrown at you at once, too fast, don't worry, I have you covered. I have meticulously gone over the two trailers that we saw, both the gameplay trailer and the commentator trailer reveal, and the Sony PlayStation blog post, and the StreetFighter.com website, and I can confidently say that I understand the drive system mechanic, and I will explain it to you in this video. Before we get into the video, I want you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video because it helps the video out a lot, and let's get into it. Alright, so right off the bat, if you don't know what I'm talking about the drive system, you haven't watched like any of the gameplay trailers, this is all going to be very new. So this is what the 1v1 screen looks like. So you can see the standard things like the health bar, you see a super meter down here. It's actually not going to be used for EX moves anymore, just your super arts. Unclear if all of the super arts would take 1 gauge or if they could take 2 or 3. You also have your round counter here, the timer here, the character you selected here, also the controller style setting. I'll mention this in another video where we'll cover the difference between like the legacy control style with moves and like the easy new controller setting. But the part of the UI we're talking about today, which is probably one of the more interesting parts of gameplay, is what this 2 is pointing to, and this is your drive gauge. It's taking the place of the stun gauge in Street Fighter 5. Unclear if stun is completely gone from Street Fighter 6 or if it's just going to be hidden like it was in Street Fighter 4. But the drive gauge is very complicated, and it's going to take some time to get used to. You see here there are 6 bars and it continuously replenishes. We don't know if it's just over time or if like attacks are going to replenish it too. I don't think they've said, but this is going to allow you to access all of your drive moves. And this is the graphic for the drive system moves. You can see that little 6-bar gauge actually controls 5 different moves: drive impact, drive parry, overdrive, drive rush, and drive reversal. And let's just take a quick look inside the trailers for what each of these mechanics looks like. The drive impact, here's an example right here, where you can see Jamie actually has a little bit of armor when doing the drive impact, and it does this kind of like crumple effect where he gets a super art after. The next mechanic is the drive parry. You can see Luke doing the parries right there. And this is actually a perfect parry that Ryu does. There is a difference between the regular parry that Luke is doing. You can see it's just a small little sound effect, and then the perfect parry, it's a big thing. Drive reversal was actually displayed here. It's kind of like a V reversal from Street Fighter 5. Drive rush is this dash attack that you actually cancel out from either a normal or a parry, I believe. And actually overdrive is just EX moves. So what you know as EX moves from Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 3 if they were called EX moves. I was not around back then. But you see them glowing yellow? That is now an overdrive move that uses 2 of your drive gauge bars. Alright, so I'm going to go over these drive moves in order of least complicated to most complicated, because as we get further along, it's going to be a little bit harder to understand what's going on and what the implications are for the game. So the first is overdrive. It takes 2 of your drive gauge bars and is basically an EX move. So for 1/3 of your total drive gauge, you can do an enhanced version of your special move. And the input is the same as any other game, is pressing 2 of the same button type. So if you want to do an EX fireball, you do your fireball motion and then you press 2 punches instead of 1. So that's simple enough. Drive reversal is also very simple. It takes 2 of your drive gauge bars, and basically it's a V reversal from Street Fighter 5, a hit V reversal to be specific, where you're blocking and attack, and then you do your drive reversal. You press forward and heavy punch and heavy kick, and you just hit them away. And the other 3, drive impact, drive parry, and drive rush are actually more complicated, and they kind of tie in with one another in my opinion. So the first one, drive impact, which I think is going to be very impactful to the game, a little pun in there if you will, but I think it's going to be a very important move to deal with. First of all, it's one drive gauge. So you saw that EX moves are 2 drive gauges, a V reversal is also 2 drive gauges, but this is only 1 drive gauge and you have 6, and it honestly looks broken from the trailer initially because it absorbs hits and it gives you a wall split. And if you read this description, it says a powerful strike that can absorb an opponent's incoming attack. Perform this on an opponent backed into the corner to induce a wall split even if they block the attack, and you do this move with heavy punch and heavy kick. So I know for a fact people are just going to be complaining about this move left and right, this drive impact move, because on first glance it looks completely broken. Scrubs are just going to throw it out. You can see right there it has 2 hits of armor. You see him glowing red for both hits as he absorbs the Stand Fierce into Flash Knuckle from Luke. It crumples them, and then you can combo into a super art. And the more you see, the more broken it looks. You can see right here Jamie doing a drive impact against a fireball, getting a super art there. It's just a move you throw out. Surely it must be punishable, right? But Chun-Li does her drive impact move and it just blows Ryu away. She does actually get hit here, but I think she was blocking. Let me just rewind a bit. It looked like she went into her blocking animation, but just got hit randomly. So it seems like it is safe on block, if you can even call it that, because they can't block the move. Here's Chun-Li landing another drive impact, just throwing it out there. If your opponent sticks out a button, you just do it. You can see you don't have to just do super art after, you can do any kind of special move conversion. So how do you actually beat drive impact? And here we see one of the ways to beat someone throwing out a random drive impact right here. So Jamie throws out his drive impact. I think Luke cancels a normal into his drive impact and actually gets a full crumple on Jamie. So it seems like reacting to a drive impact with your own is going to be an optimal way to actually beat drive impact. And then right here, one more example of Chun-Li doing her drive impact, Ryu doing his drive impact second, and his winning. So you can see there is a consequence to you doing drive impact. It's not going to just be a random button, because if they cancel that button into their drive impact, then you're going to get punished for it. And good players will do it, new players will not, and they are definitely going to get frustrated by this mechanic. And yeah, I guess it's not guaranteed that the drive impact isn't punishable just by looking at the trailer, since the Chun-Li did actually get hit by the fireball after. But I'm pretty sure based on this wording, perform this on an opponent back into the corner to induce a wall split, even if they block the attack, means that like when they're cornered, you're going to get a combo from it if they don't do anything about it, which means that you would actually be at advantage and not punishable. So the way that you're going to beat drive impact, you need to have some drive gauge left over in order to respond with your own drive impact, or possibly a parry. And that's a mechanic that they don't talk about how this interaction goes. They say that even if they block the attack, they get hit into a wall splat, but they don't say what happens when you're parrying. So a little bit unclear on how drive impact works with the parry. And now let's talk about the parry. And you would think that parry is very simple. It's a thing that's been in multiple Street Fighter games in the past. It was a universal mechanic in Street Fighter 3. It was given to certain characters in Street Fighter 5, like Ryu and Gil. But it's honestly very different than either of those games. So you can see here, drive gauge cost consumption. The wording is very confusing. It first looks like it takes like half a gauge for a parry attack. And that's what I thought at first until I saw this graphic right here, which says drive parry, drive cost continually drains. And this just confused me even more, to be honest, because I was like, how does a parry just continually drain your drive gauge? Because it's like 1 by 1, right? If you do 5 parries, how does it really continually drain? It would be like just 5 different drainages, right? But then I saw this clip again, and it suddenly made sense what continually drains is, and that parry is very different than what we've like called it before, or than what it's done before. So here you can clearly see her just holding the parry button down, like especially in between these two fireballs, she's just holding the button. And that's what it means continuously drains. Like you can continuously hold your parry stance, and I think it's kind of similar to if you're familiar with FD in Guilty Gear or Faultless Defense, where it will continuously drain your your tension gauge, and you have like this shield around you which increases pushback, does a couple of other things that I'm not a Guilty Gear player, so I'm not really sure. But that makes it so that this normal parry actually is just like a very important part of your neutral game and your defense in general, because you can just hold it, and we're not really sure what countermeasures there are for parry at the moment, besides like it just taking some of your drive gauge, a very small amount, I would assume. And it's not like parry isn't useful either. Like you can clearly see Ryu getting a punish here from it, so it's something that you can just continuously hold. And if your opponent just hits a heavy button into it, I think Chun-Li did sweep here. Yeah, I think Chun-Li did sweep right here. So she does a stand fierce, then she does a sweep. Just hold parry, and you can punish when your opponent does like a special move that's not cancelable like that. And suddenly the implications of this are that maybe drive impact is not so good in neutral, right? If parry beats drive impact, if you can parry, like regular parry a drive impact and get a punish, that means that like most people are going to just randomly throw out parry in neutral sometimes, because they can just like hold it for a second, parry something. You can see Chun-Li doing it here and backing up. If they're just holding parry in neutral, just losing a little bit of drive gauge, you're not going to want to do your drive impact into that. Suddenly doing a drive impact is very risky, where if someone was just blocking, you actually don't get punished, but because there's this parry mechanic in the game, you can get punished for it. And then you have this thing called perfect parry, which is basically a parry from other games, where you do the parry, a bunch of paint splashes out, and you get a punish on the move. Presumably, you're in like much more advantage than if you just did like a regular parry. And you can see it here again in the actual trailer. Chun-Li does a Hazanshu, Ryu perfect parries it, and goes into the Shoryuken. Okay, now that we got parries out of the way, let's read the info for Drive Rush, the one mechanic we haven't gone over yet. It's either 1 drive gauge or 3. So 3 is very expensive actually. That's half of the total drive gauge you have. It costs 1 drive if you do a drive rush from a parry, so if you like parry, cancel into drive rush. But from a normal attack, it costs 3 drive stocks. And this makes sense for it to cost more, because you can do a normal, it's basically like an FADC from Street Fighter 4. You can probably get a lot more combos from just doing a normal, canceling it into drive rush, being up in their face and getting a full combo. I'm guessing you can do like a whiff punish from very far away, do a drive rush, get a full combo. They don't actually show drive rush in the trailers very much though, and the one time they do, it's very confusing at first. But you can see suddenly drive rush, when you understand this clip, drive rush seems broken. What's actually happening here is Ryu is whiffing a parry. He's just holding parry in neutral, and as soon as he feels like it, he can cancel into drive rush for the cost of 1 bar. So in neutral, people are just going to be holding parry, and the second an opponent whiffs a button, no matter how far away they are, and they can even parry a fireball and probably punish, but no matter how far away they are, well, like not full screen obviously, but even this far away, he whiff punishes. They show you exactly the use case. Ryu whiff punishes a Chun-Li stand fierce by doing the whiff parry into drive rush, and it's for the cost of only 1 drive gauge, so it's something that you're going to see a lot. And that's basically my entire understanding. I hope you can see how like all the drive moves tie together. So drive reversal, drive overdrive are kind of separate things, but the other three really tie into each other in terms of how you're going to be playing the game in neutral. Drive impact is just a very powerful move where if you're not going to deal with it, it's just going to like obliterate you basically, because your opponent's going to throw it out, they're going to crumple you. You have to do something about it. I think drive parry is going to be the answer to that, besides also doing a drive impact on your own. If you do the drive impact second, you're going to beat this drive impact, so we saw that in the trailer. I'm speculating that drive parry, holding a parry down, will beat the drive impact because they only say that drive impact beats blocking, not that it beats parrying. So I think that holding drive parry a lot is going to be the way that you actually do a drive impact, and drive impact really is only super scary when you run out of drive gauge. And then in conjunction with the drive parry, the drive rush's main use, I don't think it's going to be like the FADC kind of thing, because that costs 3 drive stocks, but it's going to be for like punishing and whiff punishing, where you're just holding parry around in neutral, and if you parry a move, or even if you don't and you see them whiff, you just cancel into the drive rush, and it only costs 1 drive gauge. Anyways, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed my analysis. I put some time into trying to figure out what was going on. It was very confusing at first, all the drive system mechanics, but it looks like it's going to be a very deep, intricate game that we're all going to have to take some time to learn, and I'm very excited for that. Just diving deep into another Street Fighter game. If you liked the video, leave a like and comment what you thought of all the drive features, and what you would hope gets like slightly balanced, nerfed, or buffed with them, because some of them do seem a little bit strong right now. So let me know in the comments about that, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on videos, and I will see you in the next one.